Hello, welcome everyone to my channel. Today I'll be talking about how to apply for master's and PhD programs in the US and other Western countries, and also how to secure admission. Be just before we continue, a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Zubi Eboluche. I came to the US as an international student in 2015, and I came with a scholarship. I got a good scholarship which covered almost, I wouldn't say almost, like everything I needed to attend, to finish up to study my master's in the US. The scholarship covered from my flight to my visa to everything you can think about. So that's, going through that process, it's something I would love to share with everyone, especially for those, because I've, gotten so many messages about, people getting master's admission, or maybe they don't know how to even secure the admission or how to search for scholarships and apply for these scholarships. So I think this information I'll be talking about today will be really beneficial as many as that come across my page. So today, in order to apply for a master's program or even a PhD program in the US, first of all, you have to choose your program. What is that program of interest? That program that interests you? Because sometimes it's not, there are so many programs out there, you have to narrow down to what do you actually want to study. When you know what to study, then you can advance to which schools are offering these programs in their master's program, in the master's level or PhD level, depending the program you want to apply to. So this will help you to actually narrow down the schools, because I would take, for example, in the US, there are over 4,000 colleges and universities, and you can't start searching these schools one by one. You have to narrow down based on your program. And I know some people may say, oh, I have a family friend here, I have this person here. Then you can also narrow down based on location. If you are applying for the school in the US, where do you want to be? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Or even though you don't have anybody, which school do you think that fascinates you based on that program of your interest? So this will help you to narrow down the school you want to apply to. And once you narrow down the schools, the next thing is to look out and search for their what? Admission requirements. So your admission requirement depend, these differ based on schools. So maybe school A may have different one or two things similar to school B, and school B may have one thing different from school A. So you have to narrow down what are the requirements of each school you are applying to. For me, I always love to have to document everything, because that is very easy. So I don't have to go and be doing guesswork or something. I document this based on the schools I have listed I want to apply to. So you write them down to know all the requirements for each school. The next thing I do is always note the application deadline, because this will help you to work based on time frame and also be on track. And once, just to mention that most admission requirements, they are kind of, I would say for the US, they are always like common application requirements. And one of them is your resume. Your resume should basically, it should be one of your selling points, because when someone look at your resume, they want to have a mental image of you, who you are, what you've done, your achievement, what you are capable of doing. From your resume, they can see your abilities, right? So your resume should be able to highlight those abilities and skills that you've acquired over the years. And the second thing, most common admission requirement is your transcript. For example, if you're applying for a PhD program in the US, you can apply once you have a bachelor's degree with a GPA of 3.0 on a scale of 4. So you can basically apply for a PhD program once you have a bachelor's degree. Or if you have a master's, you can still apply for a PhD program. But if you don't want to do a PhD, you're applying for a master's, you can still, get your master's, your bachelor's degree transcript, because that transcript is actually required. If you have a master's and you want to apply for a PhD, your undergraduate transcript and your master's transcript will be required to, to do your doctoral application. So, and I just want to mention that some schools in the US will require that you evaluate your transcript with some international transcript evaluation agency. One of them that is most popular is the World Education Services, WES. So these agencies, they evaluate international transcripts, converting them from on a scale of 5 to on a scale of 4. And I know some people normally mention, oh, I have an HND, I have a this. Can it still be equivalent to bachelor's? When you submit your HND transcript to World Education Service to evaluate that, they are the one to officially mention that this is equivalent to a bachelor's degree. And therefore, you can basically use your HND transcript to apply for a master's program or for a PhD program in the US or any other Western country. And the next application admission requirement that is most common with schools is your statement of purpose, or some will require personal statement. So you should know what each of the schools require. And these two essays are written, they are telling the same thing, but they are written in different fashion. Because a statement of purpose, I think that will be another video I'm gonna, because most people misconstrue this, and if a school is requiring a statement of purpose, they will write a personal statement and vice versa. So I will dedicate time to explain the differences and how you can approach these two things. And another admission requirement that schools normally requires is a standardized exam, right? So this standardized exam, depending each school, they may require a TOEFL, which is use of English. Some schools will require either TOEFL or IELTS. And then most schools also require a GRE or GMAT. So you have to know what each school you're applying to requires, and then you make preparation on how you can gather all these admission requirements to be able to, submit your application. So the next thing is, once you apply, you also need to do what? For those who can't afford for the study program, it's always good to source for scholarship, right? Because this scholarship or maybe funding is actually one of the major challenges most students have. Even though they have admission, sometimes they can't even claim the admission just because they don't have funding. And it's always good to have that information as you are submitting your admission application. It's always wise to start sourcing for scholarships, right? And the thing is, I know I post scholarships, available scholarship on my platform, my social media platform, Instagram and Facebook. Some students will still come back and say, how is there any scholarship for masters? Is there any scholarship for this? I post some of these scholarship on my platform, and I will tell you there is more than enough scholarship for any student. That I am very sure of. You will see more scholarship than you can even imagine. And I will tell you this, there are some scholarship, I call them, obvious scholarship and scholarships that are not obvious. Even within each school, depending the school you choose, there are scholarship or graduate assistantship that are, anybody that are very much accessible on the website. Whereas there are some that are a little bit hidden that you have to like, go in depth to like extract this scholarship. So even in not just within the program, also within the school. And then depending the country also, there are other scholarships given by the different agencies and by the government. So you just have to know, for example, in the US, we have Fulbright. Fulbright is a popular scholarship that many students, both, students within the US and outside of the US, um, apply for. So you have to know all of this information, right? For example, in the Europe, most popular scholarship there is the Erasmus Mundus. Most people apply for the scholarship. So you have to know the country or wherever you are going, what is available there. And sometimes these things should form your decision making on the country, the state, or wherever school you are going to. You need to search to see what is available for you. Do they have something which you can benefit from, right? So, and looking at all the external scholarship and also internal scholarship, both within the program and within the school. So you have to, take a little bit of time and search for these scholarships, apply for this scholarship. I always tell people the more the merrier. The more scholarship you apply for, the more money you have, right? So, and as a student, we always need money. You need money, right? If you get something, who knows, 50% from here, you get 20%, you get 10%, you are adding them up and it's getting up to 100% and even more than 100% scholarship, which you have. So you need to apply as many as possible so you have more options. You have more choices that you can choose from, right? And I want to tell you there are also some scholarship, this scholarship, they can be categorized. So there are some scholarships that mainly, they may be made for just women. That's because you're a woman, you're eligible to apply for that scholarship. And I will tell you that one of them is Faculty of the Future. I don't know if anybody have heard about that, but this is a really prestigious scholarship that any woman in Africa can apply to, right? For people, any woman out there trying to source for master's or PhD program in the US, please, you can search for this scholarship and that will be of help for you. So there are other categorized scholarship. Mainly there are scholarship for African students. There are scholarship for specific program. So depending the program you're applying for, there are always scholarship for that particular program. So you just have to do a little bit of digging or a little bit of search, and all this information you will have them, right? And so once you apply for your scholarship, what happens? You're just gonna wait, and after that, who knows, you'll be called for an interview. And during the interview, you need to know what are those questions that will be asked. You need to know your program very well. You need to make sure you are prepared to take on that program, because questions around the program are going to come. They want to know if you have the knowledge of that program you're applying for, right? How will this program impact your career? If they fund you, how you need to, prepare yourself for these interviews, when the time comes. And after the interview, you got the scholarship, admission, and everything, voila. Then the visa stage comes. That's also need a little bit of preparation. So, and I think for the visa, if you have any question or any, based on what I have said, if you have any question or any comment or any, anything that you think you need more information on, please comment on the link, comment on the comment section, ask your question, reach out to me on my platform, my social media, my Instagram, and also my Facebook. Make sure I answer your questions. And please, if this video is informative for you, please subscribe to my channel and like, just a thumbs up